Alright guys, let's keep farming the Crunchyroll Award drama. This is called Gigguk's Take on the Anime Awards. Short clip from Sleepy Clips. Shout out to Sleepy Clips for the content. Let's see. Oh, hello Teruashi, what's going on? Let's see what Gigguk has to say about it.
Which, of course, brings us to Anime of the Year,
Woo!
which I was not surprised about.
Yeah.
Because,
Duh.
in case you had forgotten, this is an identical award to the award that I presented. It is the exact...
The main character, right? The award that he presented was Best Main Character. And I straight up think that Best Main Character probably should have gone to... And I haven't seen Delicious in Dungeon. But I think that Momo, right? I think that Momo as a main character has been fully developed enough to the point where I'm like, yeah, she's pretty complex. She's pretty deep. I like how she is so stoic and so cold and ruthless and pragmatic, but why is she really like that? Then you get to hear about her backstory, the really fucked up that thing happened with her mom, her dad and stuff, and it's like, oh my goodness. Mao Mao, I think, is such a great main character. Dandadan... Okarun and Momo really do play off of each other's really well, but at the same time, I don't know if there's been enough screen time to kind of, you know, surpass Mao Mao. And then there is Kaiju 8. I think that Kaiju 8 is a pretty decent pick. Like, people will meme on it saying, what the fuck is about Kaiju 8, bro? It's just Unga Bunga. But if you actually watch the show, you'd know that Kafka is all about this 30-plus-year-old man who's basically given up in his dreams to settle in life for mediocrity, that realizes there's only one shot in life and he tries again, and it's a really great, like, almost like redemption story, right? Underdog story. I love it. Frieren, hot take. I don't think Frieren is that significant as a main character. I think the show itself is amazing, but the show itself is amazing not necessarily because of the main character, but because of the world that exists around Frieren and the interactions she has with other characters. Frieren is just like a very aloof elf girl who doesn't understand the passages of time, and she realizes the regrets that she's had. Now she travels with Stark and Fern and meets other characters and has these lessons where she reflects back to her past and understands, like, oh, those times really worked great with Himmel and stuff, right? But the more I think about it, I think that Apothecary Diary should have won it. Solo Leveling, Sung Jin-Woo winning, I think, honestly, not that bad. Straight up. Because if you think about it, season 1, Sung Jin-Woo, it's all about, like, underdog story, weakest hunter, gotten strong. He earns the power as well. He continues to struggle. He takes care of his mom, his sister, blah, blah, blah. I think that Sung Jin-Woo is probably going to get shit on, though, because of how people are frustrated with the award ceremony being like a popularity contest without actually thinking about how is the main character. I think the main character is decent. It's just probably not the one to win it, though.
This is an identical award to the award that I presented. It is the exact same nominations as Best New Series. So if Solo Leveling did not win this, there must have been something really, really dodgy going on. I would raise more eyebrows if Solo Leveling didn't win this one. Of course.
I mean, it's Crunchyroll's golden child, right? The ratings, everything just on Solo Leveling on that platform is fucking killing it. So why wouldn't it win?
Solo Leveling needed to win this one at this point because I'd already presented this award. Let's be honest. Like I said, no anger. I feel nothing. I knew this was going to happen, which kind of brings me to, I guess, my overall opinions of this entire award show. And I guess,
yeah, and the opinions of the award show should be that don't take it seriously. This is a popularity contest. If you actually thought animes would get rated based on their quality rather than their popularity that appeals to the lowest common denominator, which are the crayon eaters, the glue sniffers, what did you think was going to happen?
What perspective we have. I guess I'll go back to Best Continuing Series for this one. Sorry, Best New Original Anime. Ninja Kamui won.
Yeah, what the fuck is this though? And I hear Dangers in My Heart also got stolen. I want to farm a clip off of that later on, but Ninja Kamui winning Best Original Anime amongst the likes of Girls Band Cry, right? What was the other ones happening? The Train to the End of the World or something, right? There was some other really unique shows that probably should have won, but Ninja Kamui won. What the fuck? Which only lets me know that people genuinely just do not give a fuck about a genre of, you know, cute girls doing cute things or maybe cute girls doing philosophical things. They just want action, hype, and no matter how bad Ninja Kamui was after episode 1, the fact that it was even that kind of action, you know, category made it get voted in. Like, what the fuck?
this. And initially, I was exceedingly surprised about this one because I was like, okay, obviously, I have my favorites.
See, I keep hearing this take. You actually don't know what's going on! The 70% of judges voting power, 30% community! Here is the final take with this. I think community power absolutely matters because even if there is a 70-30, distribution of who actually has the influence, the judges are compromised. Those people are acting on behalf of what the community are voting for. It's a popularity contest at the end of the day, and it truly shows it. If the judges truly had any sort of actual fucking understanding of anime, they would not be giving these awards. They clearly understand what is the most popular and they're pandering towards that. That's it.
Which is Girls Band Cry. And then I thought about it. And then I was like, of course Girls Band Cry was not going to win this one. This wasn't even legally available for like months. And like so many people could not fucking watch this even because it just was not available for the long.
And Ninja Kamui was unwatchable because of how garbage it was. Yet it still won, huh? So there is some production issues, some distribution issues for Girls Band Cry being nerfed.
This time. And out of all of these shows, the one that started off the strongest with some great animation was Ninja Kamui, right?
Yeah.
That was
first impressions.
Okay, with
That's it.
Strongest action animation, I think. Ninja Kamui had, I forgot the what was the director of Ninja Kamui? Like he's a fucking goated action director.
What the hell happened then after episode 1? Why was it so garbage? Did the director only pull up for one episode?
Sung Hoo Park.
Oh, Park Sung Hoo. That's a Korean name.
Big fan of his work. All right.
JJK season 1 animator. Okay.
All right. I'm really, really bad at names. Directed Jujutsu Kaisen season 1.
Cool.
Directed God of High School as well.
Okay.
And God of High School.
Choreography,
was
crazy.
A show that, say what you want about the story and adaptation, holy shit, did it have some amazing action animation and choreography.
Only thing I hear bad about this show is like the pacing and how the plot like makes no sense, but I hear that the action was actually goated. I think Ninja Kamui got a lot of hype in the beginning, right? Ninja Kamui got a lot of hype at the beginning for... Also, yes, it's a Korean name. It's not a Japanese director, by the way.
Some very, very hype, flashy, great action scenes, right? And I think what I realized after this many years of covering the Anime Awards and seeing what wins, people...
Action only.
Specifically, I think it's the Western audience, right? Because
international
Crunchyroll
audience
is very much a representation of the Western audience.
International,
Anime
baby!
has gotten popular enough that not everyone that votes on these awards are just going to watch the entire spectrum of what anime has to offer. A lot of the appeal in terms of what gets headlines,
fights,
what gets spread around,
battle,
especially just things that break out of the sphere of just anime fans that watch a lot of anime that come out, is very flashy action anime.
Yes.
That's why Shonen Jump shows are exceptionally popular.
Why is that? Because the market of people, again, we've seen a part of this clip already. The biggest and more accessible market are children, young kids. They don't have jobs. They don't have any responsibilities. All they do is just be unemployed and just consume content online. If you appeal to that market, the bigger you're going to be. Does that mean you're a better content creator because you got bigger numbers? Does that mean that you're a better show because it appeals to the lowest common denominator? Not necessarily. Numbers do matter, but you should also take into context what that number is coming from. So when you understand that the lowest common denominator, the glue-sniffing crayon eaters, love Solo Leveling, Demon Slayer, and so on, it's no surprise that when things boil down to a popularity contest, no matter how much the judges may have, power over this, they're going to pander towards that community, and therefore the award ceremony looks like a popularity contest rather than objectively analyzing and judging other shows that doesn't get the same level of viewership because it doesn't appeal to them, but maybe a higher level critic could understand, there is deeper themes going on in these shows than just Sakuga out the ass action sequences. I love action sequences. I love Solo Leveling, but I think that other shows like Frieren or Apothecary Diaries definitely should have its own place on the podium. And that's why I believe that there should be a separate award ceremony. not just a popularity contest, but a different category in which it's not just about, the popularity vote or judges pandering towards the popularity vote, but people who actually fucking watch anime at a deeper level and can acknowledge that even if these shows don't get the same type of numbers, I think there's more going on here. I value maybe the psychological thriller aspect of this. I value the, the introspective dialogue and the commentary that like maybe parallels what's going on in society rather than fucking Sung Jin Woo versus Beru. Oh my god, aura farming, right? You know what I mean?
That's why I think Solo Leveling did exceedingly well overseas. I'm not sure how popular it got here in Japan, but I know that Solo Leveling did not get as popular in Japan as it did. As like the effect that Solo Leveling had in Japan is not comparable to the effect that Solo Leveling had to an international audience.
Japan too busy eating up garbage isekais like Tibet, bro. There's also obviously the anti-Japan, narrative, the propaganda that exists in Korean webtoons like Solo Leveling. I'm sure that doesn't really help either.
And I think what the Crunchyroll Anime Awards represent.
Democracy sucks. Let's go back to anarchy. No, democracy. This is democracy though, right? The popularity vote. But when you think about the average person that has the same voting power, and maybe it will shock you, is when you realize that these retards have the same power of influence as their votes count as much as yours, you'll realize that maybe democracy ain't it. And I'm not here saying democracy ain't it, but there are times when you should really critically think and be like, what kind of award ceremony do we want to have? If we just do democracy and just do popularity vote, what kind of shows are going to get acknowledged and which won't? Do we want a different system in which other shows can get acknowledged without the popular vote and so on, right? And at that point, I think that it really opens up a conversation beyond just like, oh my god, Crunchyroll is just pandering towards these common people, but more like, okay, if we're going to do that, should we have a different fucking award ceremony? Do we need to? Does Solo Leveling winning, is that even bad? Here's a hot take. Solo Leveling winning anime of the year over Frieren? Why is that bad? How about that? Because it's just Unga Bunga? Because it's just action? So just because something is so simple in story and it's just super hype and just action focused, suddenly it doesn't deserve to win anime of the year? What does anime of the year even fucking mean at the end of the day? Because like straight up, I think a lot of people get so heated because they think that, oh, more like smarter shows, more shows that like are beyond just fighting, surface level fighting battle shows should default be recognized more. Why is that? Have you ever thought about that?
Is your general anime watcher, and your general anime watcher is a different kind of community than I think the community that existed 10 years ago. It is kind of grown past the anime community that we recognize, the anime fans that I'm sure are in chat right now.
The fucking boomers, bro. Back in my day, the anime community used to be different, I tell you what. And then COVID happened. 2020 happened. The market blew up. I straight blame Demon Slayer for this. Here's a fucking hot take. I think Demon Slayer is the reason why the anime community is like what it's right now. I straight up think that there was a paradigm shift that happened in 2020 with everyone being locked in and Demon Slayer popping the fuck off and opening its floodgates to a big modern audience. Everyone is inside, everyone is just watching. They get exposed to this crazy huge battle shonen and suddenly we got more people flooding in, and ever since then, look at the types of anime that gets recognized. Jujutsu Kaisen, Demon Slayer, Attack on Titan. I know Attack on Titan is not just Unga Bunga Battle Shonen, but there is a common theme of what appeals to the most during the time period after 2020, after Demon Slayer's success. And if you again think about the mainstream audience, I think that you should blame Demon Slayer for this.
It's grown to just a more general audience, and a show with a little bit more of a niche appeal is never going to hit a general audience as much as something like Solo Leveling.
Yeah, because literally, what does niche mean? You are a very small subsection in this big pie. If you want to be mainstream, you need to be broad enough and have an accessibility that is, just so open, right? Solo Leveling's barrier of entry is so little. That's why everyone can just watch Solo Leveling after a hard days at work, after going to school or whatnot, turn their brains off and watch a hype show where they can self-insert themselves to a main character where there's an underdog story happening. It just makes sense. Do you think that this common person is gonna watch some random slice of life anime that takes maybe more IQ to understand the deeper themes being explored? Ain't nobody give a fuck about that. No one wants to think. Everyone wants to just turn their brain off and enjoy. And I don't think there's inherently anything wrong with that. Entertainment at the end of the day is entertainment. This doesn't need to be a fucking PhD thesis. Like this whole notion of like, oh, simple shows don't deserve these awards because they're simple. I don't necessarily agree with it either, right? At the end of the day, entertainment is very subjective and simple shows appeal to the biggest demographic. So when you have an award show that caters towards that, it's no surprise that the outcome will be like that. The talking point should be then, how do we get other shows recognized? Do we get more award show categories? Do we get different type of judgment system?
At least in the Western sphere, even something that's got in the anime sphere for anime fans that got as popular as something like Frieren, right? Because to me, as an anime fan, I was like, yo, Frieren is the first time I've seen an anime that is not like completely action oriented that actually got decently popular.
Yeah, it got pretty widespreading, but not as big as Solo Leveling.
And actually had an effect on so many people that watch anime. And I think what this made me realize is that as popular as Frieren did get for people who are very, very well versed in anime, it still does not compare to a general audience. Because how often do you talk to someone who watches anime but doesn't watch every anime? I have talked to so many people
normies
that have watched Solo Leveling and have watched.
If Frieren even got top 1 in my anime list means fucking nothing. Like, I understand that you guys may think that my anime list ratings may mean something, but like, this is a very small group of people brigading their favorite show on a fucking forum that most people, anime watchers, don't even fucking use. You, again, may exist in your own little bubbles where you think that, like, reality is what you see through your lens, but my anime list means fucking nothing, bro. Straight up. The common person Giga is talking about doesn't even know what a my anime list is.
Jujutsu Kaisen, and I've watched these action anime and just know no other anime but that genre, you know, because those are the anime that goes past the little bubble that we have.
Yeah, it's like, exactly, this little bubble we have is so important, man, because again, I think people have such a hard time understanding why things like this happen because they can't think from different people's perspectives and they think that whatever they experience is the reality for everyone else. We live in such a small bubble, man. You are so unaware of how big the ocean is there for the community that we call the anime community, right? Most people don't know what the fuck a seasonal anime is. They don't even know what a seasonal anime is. They like we know that every 3 months, fall, winter, spring, summer, and so on, we get a new batch of anime coming in. The average person just sometimes hears about big titles like Dan Da Dan or Frieren or Solo Leveling. I think the shows that you see right over here are very good ones where those masses will hear about these shows being talked about from maybe other content creators or their friends, and they're like, you know what, I'll go check that out. That is the average watcher, in my opinion. Someone that has no clue about any other seasonal anime stuff, just hears about popular titles, checks it out, and has a great time. That doesn't mean that they're inferior. That doesn't mean that they're somehow like, oh, you don't deserve to watch anime. But this is the behavior and like the characteristics of the average person.
And Frieren very much represents that anime that is very, 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 very popular for anime watchers, but maybe doesn't go past that bubble in the same way that JJK does, that Solo Leveling does, that Demon Slayer does. And so I just think instead of being angry, like I said,
there is no point being angry because, again, if you understand exactly what this kind of rewards in a award system is and what kind of people are out there, it's the only obvious outcome.
Zero anger, no anger. I just think that this is just a representation of anime watchers today.
Yes,
this award is just the representation
average person
of just the general anime audience.
And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, straight up. Like, as much as I understand how frustrating it may be to some of you that think like Solo Leveling should have never won and Frieren should have, that Frieren somehow got robbed, a lot of these takes comes from this entitlement of, oh, I'm better than you because I can watch other animes that's not just action. Okay, that's great for you. But does that somehow mean that Solo Leveling is bad? No. Right? Like, there's nothing wrong with a simple hype show. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with the average people appealing more to those simple hype shows. And the faster you get rid of this entitlement, the more you can become quote unquote enlightened. That whole Vinland Saga shit with like, I have no enemies. But that's just how the world works, man.
And it is just a different audience. Because you know what? Remember when we were all salty when Yuri on Ice won every single award in the first year of the Anime Awards? I do not think that we would be able to see something like that again. Because that represents a time where one show got exceedingly popular, right? Which was Yuri on Ice that year. But it was a show that got exceedingly popular. That wasn't just a flashy action show.
And this was before Demon Slayer, right? Again, my conspiracy theory is when the lockdown happened in 2020 and Demon Slayer popped off, it brought on a huge wave of people who only care about hype action Sakuga moments. No, yeah, that's 2017. That was when the anime community was not as mainstream and it was pretty much still like has some sort of like, I guess like hardcore like domination compared to like the average people, right? And that's what's happening again. If I show you the same circle again, right? It's this shit all over again. Back in the day, right? Maybe 2017, right? This is the anime community and a lot of people are like, yay, Yuri on Ice, I love this, wow. And then 2020 happened. And this is what's going on. Let's see if I can do a better job. 2020 happened, and basically, like, maybe this is a bad circle, but you get the idea. These are the new people that come in. Oh my god! Nezuko! Ufotable! Woo! Jujutsu Kaisen, baby! Solo leveling! Woo! Yeah, these people came in. And now you may think like the 2017 people that used to be, yeah, no longer are they there. It's all dominated by all these people. And yep, blame Demon Slayer, boys.
And I don't know when the next time is going to happen when a flashy action show doesn't dominate these awards, because I just think they just have.
And what's wrong with it? Why shouldn't a flashy show dominate these awards? Because it's just a flashy show and there's no substance beyond the action. That's probably the take, right? Yeah, I get it. I think that other shows that are beyond just flashy things, shows that can do flashy things and then has a bit more substance to it winning, yeah, I think that would be better probably. But again, these awards categories do not represent that. This is whatever appeals to the common person, and if you have any expectations for the common persons to be smarter than this, you are already fighting a losing battle.
Have a much wider appeal than other genres of anime. Made in Abyss won Anime of the Year, right?
That's crazy.
What a year that was. And that was an upset that year. So I think it paints a picture that if Frieren didn't win this year, I have kind of just lost hope that anything but an action anime is going to win Anime of the Year.
You never know though. Maybe, you know, I don't know. I don't think that the normies' behaviors are ever going to change. Maybe they get tired of it. Maybe they get tired of Battle Shonen. There comes a time in the, you know, the anime watcher where they start off with Battle Shonen, but they watch so much Battle Shonen, they get tired of it, and they would try to watch other stuff, and they start to watch more slice of life and rom-com and stuff like that. Maybe get into isekai, but again, those people will never be the majority, right? And again, if the award ceremony is whatever appeals to the majority, then I think that action sequences, stuff like this, is always going to win.
For any anime awards. that is my conclusion. I would love to be proved wrong in the future, and I hope I am, because I would love for more genres of anime to get represented as some of the top tier anime.
If you want that, we need a separate category, right? If the goal right now is other genres of animes to get, you know, recognized by these award ceremonies, you will never have that happen by wishing on the audience to change their behavior. Fundamentally, the average person will never fucking change. It's a losing battle. So instead, you should think about, should we have different awards categories? Should we change the existing system so that other shows can get represented without depending on the popular vote?
No copium left. But I think, yeah, Solo Leveling is insanely popular. And it's going to take a lot for something else to be able to dethrone a hot, flashy action anime. Like I said, I don't even dislike Solo Leveling. I like Solo Leveling. I enjoy it. I enjoy it for what it is. I don't even have
I love Solo Leveling too
anymore. So I just want to focus my energy on shouting out that at least these shows got nominated. There have been some years where some fantastic shows have aired that weren't action shows that didn't get nominated. I would like to shout out that if there was a W in my mind for this year, it was the fact that we got such a wide range of nominations for Anime of the Year this year. And
Did we get a wide range? Kaiju and Solo Leveling probably in the same category of Unga Bunga. Delicious in Dungeon and Frieren, more fantasy shows, probably kind of same category. Dan Da Dan, I don't even know what category to put that shit in because it does so many different things. But it's really cool to me that Apothecary's Diaries made it in. The fact that Apothecary Diaries actually made it onto this roster surprises me. Which honestly is a great signal that, like, damn, even in this award show, which is all about pandering towards the average person, Apothecary Diaries made it on, huh? That's impressive.
a wide range of nominations for Anime of the Year this year. And I'm sincerely hoping that Orb is at least going to be nominated next year for something. I'm hoping that it was a technicality that Orb wasn't nominated. But for now, I am happy that the show...
Yeah. Orb being made it on, I could see, I could see it like Orb being in here in the same way Apothecary Diaries being in here, but to think that Orb would ever win, there is no shot, bro. Like, could you ever imagine the average retard watching anime to be able to appreciate Orb? 0% chance. I would bet my life on that, bro. That is a guarantee. Bro, the average person watching Solo Leveling going, Aura-form! They can't stand to watch Orb. They couldn't watch 5 minutes of Orb.
shows actually got the nomination for Anime of the
Also, Solo Leveling Season 2 next year, easy clear. Easy sweep, baby. This is Season 1 Solo Leveling, by the way. Season 2, easy sweep.
Year. Because I think it's time to accept that anime has just become bigger than the bubble that we grew up in.
Yes.
That is it. That is it. That is my review of the Crunchyroll Anime Awards. It's out of our control, guys. It's out of our control.
Here's my take, bro. I think that, again, the conspiracy theory is Demon Slayer is the beginning, the shattering, the fragmentation of the mainstream audience. Sorry, coming into, you know, these hardcore vets. And now all of the hippies, all of the, back in my day, Yuri on Ice used to win. They're the out of touch, you know, gatekeepers who are upset that their community, you know, series are no longer being represented. And that's fair, right? It must be frustrating to know that only action heavy sequences are going to be ever be put in the spotlight because it panders towards the average person. And again, I don't think there's inherently wrong with it. I think that people like Gigguk, who literally has influence, should be having a call to action to include more categories or a different awards ceremony entirely where they can get shows of different genres recognized. I think there are things we can do about it. It's just that as a random ass fucking reaction channel on YouTube, what the fuck am I gonna do? But people like Gigguk, people that actually are involved in the Crunchyroll Awards ceremonies, I'm sure he could give a talk to the execs. I'm sure they could talk and have some, you know, ideation going around of like, guys, I think that like having Anime of the Year and Solo Leveling winning is you know, maybe okay, but a lot of other people want some other shows to be recognized. Maybe there's some different things that we can do to make sure some of these other shows can also be recognized, whether it be through a separate system of different categories, right? Different categories highlighting different genres itself, or maybe we can have like a different system where rather than 30%, 70% split, there's something else can happen to, again, better distribute that. Let's read some of the comments. At this point, I don't even care about the Crunchyroll Anime Awards. Yeah, I think that you shouldn't, but it's just every year the same thing happens, and I just find it funny. Like every year the same shit happens and people are frustrated and upset, and I'm like, what else did you expect? It's not the Anime Awards, it's the Crunchyroll Anime Awards. Never officialized this as big important anime award. The fact that Sung Jin Woo was best main character says it all. Just call it Western Normie Awards. I mean, pretty much. To be honest, I'm not even surprised about it since last year they didn't even give Vinland Saga Season 2 any award. That is sad, man. Vinland Saga Season 2 didn't get anything last year, huh? It's like COD Battle BO6 winning game of the year, and nominees include Expedition 33 and okay, so like new games, new indie games that's actually good in gameplay versus like the newest COD or the newest FIFA game and blah blah blah, right? It's the Kids' Choice Awards of anime, and that's not too wrong because again, there's a lot more kids than there are, you know, these enlightened veterans of anime who thinks that they know it all. They really gave the best character award to John Isekai. The thing that bothers me is the secondhand embarrassment I get when I see all these Japanese celebrities being invited to the awards only to have them watch what is effectively the West showing them that we are illiterate and only care about bam boom bang boom action unga boonga shows. When the Solo Leveling director guy showed up on the stage and he won, he didn't even know what to say, right? He was like, oh, I don't really have a speech prepared. Thank you. Then anything with more than one quarter of a dialogue, fact, fight, ration, or story that's complicated, I'm good guy, you bad, is worthless to us. Effectively, we invite them and put them in a metaphorical cuck chair to watch our makeout session with illiteracy. I don't know, man. Like, as much as you think that the Japanese are these like elite, you know, human beings who have better taste, if you go over to Japan and see what animes are popping off there, you never know. Tibate's gonna win, bro. Oh, sorry. Yeah, that wasn't the Solo Leveling. That was the Ninja Kamui winning Best Original Series and the director being like, I have no speech. What the fuck? It's like the Oscars, but MCU movies win all the nominations every year. Pretty good a comparison. Michelin stars were also a popularity contest. McDonald's would get the Michelin stars. That's what it was. I like these analogies. They might as well call it lazily written but flashily shown in awards at this point. It's not lazily written. It's very simply written, and they focus more on the action sequences. When you think about Solo Leveling, it's just Korean SAO. Solo Leveling is Korean Sword Art Online. I think there's a lot of similarities in what SAO and Solo Leveling has done. SAO obviously opening up the gates for a lot of like new people coming in back in like 2012 or something, right? And Solo Leveling kind of doing the same thing. Is it similar though in the actual story? It's a power fantasy through a guy. There's a video game system kind of. I don't know. I have to think more about that. I don't care about the awards since I know it's more like a popularity contest instead of actual awards. Doesn't help that Crunchyroll is notorious for being biased towards popular shonen series. Yeah, because their bias is towards what their audience likes on their platform, which happens to be popular shonen series. And their translation is horrible. True. Which is why I switched to Musasia based. Nowadays, watching anime or read the manga directly. I wish we had Musasia over in North America, but I don't. It's the tourists voting instead of the locals. It is what it is. And that's pretty much it. At the end of the day, there is no point getting upset about this. This is the obvious logical outcome that could have happened when you have an award ceremony that only panders towards the lowest common denominator. And if you want other outcomes to happen, you need to have a call to action. And for people who actually have powers of influence like Giga to suggest that, hey, maybe we should get other categories going. Maybe we should change up the judgment system. Please check out Sleepy Clips channel. Here's a link to the video. Go give them a like. Check out their channel for more Giga adjacent content. And I'll see you next time.